Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for August 12th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and with me today is Pooya. How you doing, Pooya?
I am doing well, Taran. I wasn't here last week. I had a weekend off. It was great. I'm rejuvenated. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm back. There's a lot of scenarios to talk about today, so I can't wait. Can't wait to dig in.
Yes, we are here, not even really in the morning at this point, if you're on the East Coast, but we did get an interview in with Daniel, so you can look forward to that, if that's the right way to say that, later today, so you can check that out. We've already gotten some of his interviews in so far, and I think, in general, it's about what you would expect. So we are here, of course, now, though, to update you on everything that is happening, that has happened yesterday on the Big Brother 24 live feeds. It was day 37 in the house, and it was Revenge Day.
Today's my gloating day. It's my happy day. I'm gonna do a dance party everywhere I go because it's Revenge Day. Revenge Day. It's Revenge Day. Hey, hey.
What a day. What a celebration day Revenge Day was. It was sweet. It was delicious. I quite enjoyed it, Taran. How about you?
Yes, it's an interesting day here. A lot to talk through as we get through the day prior to the eviction, and of course after the eviction with a new HOH and all of that. So, a couple of things to bring everyone up to speed on. First is that there was a little bit of drama the night before on day 36, but the feeds were cut for it, and it was not very clear exactly what was going on. A lot more clarity comes to it in the morning here of day 37. That we talked about this a little bit last night on the recap, but Terrence apparently made some comments that the feeds were not able to catch because they went down about a rapper, I believe I've been told, named Joe Budden, who treats women very poorly to some amount of degree, and apparently said some things along the lines of, well, hey, if the women go back to him, then essentially they get what they deserve, and was apparently pushed back. Like, there was pushback in the conversation itself, and he, I think, apparently doubled down. Again, this is all off feeds, and even people talking about the conversation tends to get the feeds cut. So that, it's difficult to know exactly how the conversation went down, but it does seem as though most of the people in the house were pretty annoyed by it. Brittany in particular was upset by the comments, and everyone was pretty on board with just like, yeah, that was pretty messed up.
Yeah, what's the point of putting that PSA at the start of the feeds that says the things, the opinions and things the house guests say have no connection to us? You've already said they have nothing to do with it. Show us them, because they are important for figuring out where everyone lies, where the opinions are. Now, obviously, we got little snippets that you just highlighted, Taran, that we were able to piece all this together. Very gross behavior and from Terrence. Like, read the damn room. Even if this is, first of all, this opinion that he's holding is very wrong and very stupid. Even if he still believes it, when the entire room is telling you that they don't like it and they're pushing back, how are you going to double down on the faces of people? Like, people have clearly experienced and have gone through some bad relationships. You can't put it on people that, you knew what you signed up for. Shut up. What do you know? Terrence, between this and the slop this past week where we learned some of his advices, Taran needs to just stop talking. He needs to go back to yes-anding, because when he talks out of his own volition, it is awful. So get rid.
Yes. So not great. Very frustrating behavior. Other things that are going on, other frustrating behavior, a little bit less so, but still pretty, like, excuse me. Jasmine apparently broke some glass in the bathroom and then just left it there. Brittany then had to clean it up, and Jasmine was very unapologetic about it.
You know, as one does, you break glass, you leave it there, no worries, you're fine. She's wearing a boot, so maybe she didn't care because she'd be fine. Well, at least one of her feet would be fine. This is ridiculous. Again, some of these house guests, like, do you not realize what game you're playing? Like, being in a socially good standing with people? Do you really think this is a smart thing to do? And then to have poor Brittany have to clean it up. Ugh, Taran, listen, Revenge Day was sweet, but my God, some of these house guests are very much souring me still.
Yes. So both of these things really pissing off a decent amount of the house and making them want to target both Terrence and Jasmine even more. The only other thing here is that, of course, the night before on day 36, Joseph, Kyle, Jasmine, Indy, and Alyssa locked in an alliance they called the Five Swatters. And that they kind of also included Five Swatters plus Terrence was kind of the idea, but he wasn't really in it. And Joseph is going to tell the rest of the leftovers about the alliance, what the name is, all of that. He gives them the full rundown of the whole situation, and they make fun of it. But Joseph, just in general, just continues to just like full on, just like, yeah, this is what it's what's happening. Don't worry about it. I pushed for Michael and Brittany to be the pawns. It's all going to be great. It's all going to work out. So keep that in mind. So we get to the eviction, and of course Daniel was evicted. We go to the wall comp, and there are 10 competitors, and they start dropping like 5 swatters. I don't know. They get swatted off the wall. They one by one, Jasmine, Brittany, Terrence. We're gonna lose. It really went pretty quickly. The whole thing. But it comes down to Indy, Turner, Kyle, Joseph, and Taylor. Alyssa actually fell off pretty quickly. So this wall comp seemed to be a little more of an old school style with lower handholds than some of the newer ones where there's like more options for handholds, and a lot of slime and goo and such. So what happened is this was a lot of grip going on here. There were squat blockers, and what was happening with a lot of people is that the slime was getting on their hands and making it much more difficult to grip. And as this was a very grip heavy competition, that was pretty detrimental to their performance. Alyssa, as we learned in the first HOH that she competed in, where she was hanging and she was the first one out, has terrible grip strength. Yes. So she was out pretty quickly. And ultimately, Indy does eventually fall. Turner falls, and it is down to Taylor, Joseph, and Kyle. Joseph is going to throw the competition at this point. He's going to tell all of the leftovers that he did so. He said specifically he threw it because he didn't want to be the last person up there with Taylor to like continue to like plant that kind of target on their back. It then comes down to Kyle and Taylor. Kyle did try his best to win. He's going to say so both to the cameras and to Taylor afterward, but he is too tall and not going to be able to stay up on that wall. Taylor is the winner of the wall comp.
Queen's coming to get what's hers.
Very emotional. She comes down. She's crying. Kyle's giving her a hug. It's like cheering her on. And Alyssa goes, "All right, that's enough."
Yeah, that was a great catch by someone on the feed last night. It's very faint, but if you listen to it with the volume up, Alyssa's not loving the celebration that's happening on the mat at the end.
Yes. So Taylor was the only person that she said she had actually read this beforehand, which is funny because we actually talked about this during I think it was the celebrity wall comp, that she was not moving her hands, not allowing the slime to get in between her hands and the bar and such. So that was a huge factor in her winning. She looked very solid up there. And Kyle said there's basically no way he was going to be able to beat her. So Taylor is the new HOH, and very exciting stuff, except for the fact twist coming up and not being able to compete in that HOH, or those HOHs, I should say, is not the best place to be, but she still should be pretty good going into that twist. So, hopefully it won't be too big of a deal, but, it figures that, of course, the HOH she wins is the one that the twists are going to neuter as much as possible.
Bit of a double-edged sword, this victory. But I will say, because we just do not know enough about what's going to happen and how it's set up yet, I'm not ready to say that it's a completely negative, because obviously, even if she's not able to compete in the HOH, she's guaranteed to play in a veto regardless of whether or not she's targeted and whatever the split is. She's going to be the outgoing HOH. How are they going to determine what the two groups of 5 are? Does she get you can't play, but you can pick the 5? Could that be a thing? I don't know. I just do not know what they're going to do with this setup. We'll have to wait and see. So right now, I'm happy with the Taylor win. We'll take what we can get.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of confusion about what this twist is and what it will do. My assumption was that they were going to essentially just run a full week of Big Brother with 2 HOHs, 2 groups, 2 sets of noms, 2 veto competitions, 2 evictions, and then the following Thursday, which would be, I guess, the 25th, or maybe the 24th. The 25th would be essentially a double eviction, because there are 2 people being voted out from both ends. But then there's also some speculation that they're going to run this as a double eviction on the 18th next week. Somebody will go home on Taylor's HOH. Then there'll be 2 HOH competitions, 2 veto competitions, and 2 theoretically evictions, which would essentially make that a triple eviction on the 18th. If that were the case, if 2 people actually went home and it wasn't just 2 different ways to get 2 people on the block or something along those lines, that kind of makes more sense, considering that Julie said that the 2 groups would have no interaction. I don't know how you do no interaction in the Big Brother house over the course of an entire week. There's been some speculation that maybe one group lives inside and one group lives outside, but that seems really not okay. It's pretty hot out there. How do you set up the competitions? I guess unless you're doing them all in the basement, which maybe they could do, but you can't just stick people outside for 7 days. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Outside just seems like a no for me. But that's the biggest thing I've been trying to figure out, because I initially, Taran, last night thought triple. That's what's going to happen. Listening back to the footage, I think it's a single eviction next week for the first hour. The second hour, we get the 2 HOHs. The week is set. But the biggest question I think is on everyone's mind is the kitchen. Because you can have a separate area. What's going to happen with their eating? Where's the kitchen? Because that's the main communal spot that everyone needs to probably share. But also, this is the same show where they sequester people and they can't talk to each other. So they could enforce that potentially. But I don't know. I'm very curious how they're going to play it out. I'm excited to see how it goes. I think ideally they're just in separate places. Like if there's a basement, good, make a makeshift kitchen, maybe a hot plate. I don't know what they're going to set up, but keep them separate for the whole week if you don't want any interaction, because I think even facial expressions can give away a lot in a game like this. So
yeah, I just I don't, because there's been some speculation also, what if they put them in the basement or somewhere else? I'm not sure that works. The whole point of the Big Brother house is that it's set up for the filming 24/7, catching all the conversations. They're just probably not. I mean, unless they're gonna set up an entirely new area specifically for that. They're obviously set up in the basement to film comps, but they're not set up to film to have bedrooms and sleeping arrangements and kitchens and bathrooms and filming all of that in those other areas. I imagine that would be pretty expensive to have to set up just for this one situation. So I don't know. Plus I imagine would not have those on the live feeds. They're certainly probably not set up for that to be on live feeds. I will say, I think disregarding any game ramifications, I think the idea of splitting the house in 2 for a week with no interaction and running that on the live feeds is kind of intriguing. The idea that we have 2 separate weeks to follow at the same time, it's kind of interesting, and seeing how the different groups who can't interact are operating, and how they might end up influencing each other, or like impacting each other, given the results of the week, and they don't even know it. I think that sounds like it could be fun. Again, not looking at the game ramifications, but I also just don't really get how they keep the no interaction solid, unless they were like, cycling them out, like okay, one group is inside for half the day, and then the other group is outside, and then they switch and they're outside for half the day, and they just like, there's a lot of lockdowns, as like, okay, this group now gets to go in and eat and go to the bathroom. They probably stick a porta potty outside. They've done that before. So I think that's kind of the only way that could work, and maybe that is how it'll work. But at this point, who knows?
It's going to be very interesting, because especially when you consider how the split would go, whether it is one half in the house, one half in the backyard, or one half in the house, one half in the basement, one of these teams is not going to live as comfortably as the one that's going to live in the house. So how are you going to figure that out?
It's opposite worlds.
Yes. But does that mean we play this HOH out? Is it going to be like the 2 HOHs, whoever had like the best time or did the best gets the better living situation out of the 2, and then the other team is just damned? I don't know.
I mean, well, I just feel like there's no way they stick one team outside the whole time. I feel like it's got to be, they've got to cycle them out at some point.
Like each group gets 3 days in the house, 3 days outside, or something.
I just like a half a day and half a day, right? And then all comps are in the basement, I guess, right? So that they don't have to set up in the backyard. Because you just can't stick a group of people outside all day. They're gonna be like hiding in the shade. Like what if it rains? Like, this is not Survivor. Like, they're not set up for that kind of nonsense. But who knows? Who knows?
We'll find out. Yeah, we'll find out on Wednesday, hopefully, some context to it. But yeah,
I don't think we're gonna find out until Thursday, because Julie's not gonna be around to explain the twist.
True. Damn.
So anyway. Taylor is the HOH. Brittany is going to celebrate with Taylor in the storage room. They end up getting caught slightly by Jasmine, so that's awkward. Joseph is going to, again, tell the Alliance that he threw the competition. Terrence is going to go around talking about how I've always had Taylor's back. I've always stuck up for Taylor myself. I've always been a big Taylor supporter. And Jasmine is upset because now I've got to talk to her. I just like, it's not that I hate her or anything. It's just like, I just hate being fake. Talking to her, we're just like different people. I just don't want to have to talk to her. Taylor then, right after Jasmine says that and goes to Taylor, Taylor is going to tell Jasmine, don't worry about it. You're good. You're safe. I'm not putting you up. And this is because Taylor's talked about this. A couple of reasons. One, she has no interest in nominating a black woman. That's when she has another option. There are, Terrence is there, who has, really, like, from Taylor's point of view, she also didn't want to nominate him, but fully sunk his own ship with the support of Daniel and all of that. Taylor knows that Jasmine trash talks her, but from her perspective, it is not as bad as what Terrence has done. Then she also has Indy and Alyssa, who are options of people that she can put up. So since she has the choice, she does not want to put Jasmine up for that reason, alongside the reason that it's going to be Jasmine's birthday this week. And it's particularly important to Jasmine because it's also, she shares a birthday with her father who passed away. So she also doesn't want to put her up for that reason this week. So she's immediately going to tell Jasmine she is safe, which I can't say that I'm fond of, and we're going to get even more of this as the night progresses. Taylor doesn't have the smoothest of nights here as her first HOH.
Yeah, I want to first say that Jasmine does not deserve the niceness that Taylor's dishing out for sure. It was very frustrating, but I completely get where Taylor's coming from. The biggest qualm with the start of the HOH reign here, obviously, is you never want to give that many people safety or tell them they're fine out the gate. Let them squirm, let them dish out information, then if the decision was already the same from the beginning, then tell them. Get as much information as you can. Because once people think they're safe, they're just going to lie to your face and like try and like be nice, which is exactly what Jasmine was doing in the HOH room later on in the one-on-ones.
Yeah. Kyle is also going to talk to the cameras and say that when Daniel made his speech, he wanted to say, another outburst, another childish outburst from a 35-year-old cosplayer. Thanks for making this easy for me. But he couldn't do it. Man, Kyle.
Just do it. Yeah.
Why do you keep disappointing me? This is saying this is making me more disappointed in you. The fact that you had it there and you didn't use it, you're
That's
just
worse.
teasing me. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather not know what I missed out on than know what I missed out on. That is a bad decision. I didn't have the heart. The one person that you could have mustered the courage to say this to would have been great, would have been right there. But alas, we didn't get it.
Michael and Brittany are going to talk. They want this Five Swatters alliance to end. The bestie twist is over. There's no need for it now other than to keep Joseph and Kyle safe and give them all the credit in the end for playing both sides. Like, oh, wow, they were playing such a good game, playing both sides. This is important because this is the difference, right, between, say, there's a few different things going on here, right? One is that during the bestie twist, there was a team benefit to people playing both sides so that they could push the other side in a specific direction because there was only one specific direction that could cause them to go home in the bestie twist over on the leftover side. So if Joseph and Kyle have the ears of the Five Swatters, then they can make sure that Michael and Brittany go up initially. And if they go up initially, they can't go home. That's great. Everyone is protected. Without the bestie twist, Michael Joseph and Kyle being with the Five Swatters only really benefits Joseph and Kyle because none of them are going to put each other up. You know, nobody, Jasmine, Indy, Alyssa, Terrence are not going to put any of them up as themselves up as pawns when there are plenty of options on the other side. So it only really protects Kyle and Joseph, and as Michael points out, just gives them credit in the end for being the people that were playing all sides and were the safest people in the house and all of that. And that's pretty obvious. Now, there's also like the way that the Cookout did it last season where they still maintained their secrecy and their like side pieces because they were set up in a specific way where everyone had their one person, so everyone was covered by that one person, and that kept their whole alliance covered because they would be put up on the block against that person, and it wasn't all benefiting one person; it was benefiting them as a group, right? So it's not that situation. So Michael's like, that doesn't help us at all. It's much more like the Big Brother 19 situation where Paul is kind of like, hey, don't worry. I've got an ear in with these people. I can help you out here. I can be the person. I can be the middle person to run back and forth. And everyone just let Paul do it. In part because Paul didn't say, yeah, I've got a named alliance with them over there. It's great. Don't worry about it. He made them feel like, oh, yeah, they really hate you. But for some reason, they're listening to me right now. So I'm going to do my best to help you out. Basically what Michael and Brittany are saying is we're not going to just let people be Paul. You doing this doesn't benefit us in any way. We're not going to let you do it. And in addition to all of that, particularly with Joseph, he won't listen to them. And this is something that we've talked about with Joseph a few times in the past. He likes to talk. And when he talks to people, he doesn't always listen to what they're saying. So Michael told Joseph multiple times, do not push for me and Brittany to be pawns until we know for sure that the bestie twist is going to continue. Because if you push for me and Brittany to be pawns and then the bestie twist ends, now we're screwed because we're just going up on the block initially for no reason and we don't have the protection of the bestie twist. So please don't do that. And then the following morning, Joseph comes up to them and he's like, we just formed a 5 Swatters alliance and don't worry, they're putting you up on the block as pawns. I did it, guys. And then he's just like, what are you talking about? I told you not to do that. Why?
The game Joseph was playing leading up to this moment was great. He's doing a good job. He's infiltrating the other side. He's got information. Everything's working out. Good. The reason all of this, the reason why Michael's like, they don't need the 5 SWAT, like we don't need these lines drawn out. We don't need this double agent business. We're in the jury phase now. And like you said, this 100% benefits Joseph and Kyle. If anyone on the other side wins, I think the two of them will be fine. Joseph might be a little bit trouble. They'll be fine for the most part. Whereas everyone else on the other side now has nowhere to hide because that little group of 4 people are not looking at each other, are targeting each other. And I can see why Michael's frustrated by this. I mean, you tell me that, yeah, so the other side now are just going to put you up as pawns or going to put you up to start. And then if the veto, oh yeah, probably one of you will probably leave. That'll not be good. Like, who wants that? No one wants that. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the leftovers here moving forward, because this, unlike last season, like you said, the outsiders are pretty much connected to 2 people in the main alliance, not like everyone having a piece to go forward.
Yeah, and again, I think the main difference between this and some other situations in past seasons, or even just like a spot where like, hey, Joseph is just doing this to benefit his own game. Like, oh, of course he wants to try and get them to put up Michael and Brittany. Those are kind of his targets once they hit 7. Mm-hmm. So he might as well prep that. But I don't really think that that's even what he's doing, because the main thing here is like, don't tell them that.
Like, just hold it to yourself. You'll be fine.
Yeah. You don't need to tell them everything, Joseph. Stop being so loyal to the alliance if you're going to be doing stuff outside of the alliance. Because if you can't have your muffin and eat it too. They will take that muffin from you.
Yeah, I think that the minute jury phase starts, hold all the information in. They no longer need to know all of the stuff you're doing outside of the group, except for little bits and pieces of, I had this conversation, you're fine. Surface level it. Do not give them more. I mean, it's obviously you're putting a lot of trust in your alliance, which shows how much you want this alliance to prevail. But when you're telling your alliance that some of them will get put up on the block and you will not, that's going to start making them see you're playing, you have both sides, you're relatively comfortable, and I still like you, so I do not see why I would continue working with you here. So I think that's the biggest thing. You have to withhold information the minute jury starts.
Yes. So Michael and Brittany are going to start pushing this. Monty has always been on board with this idea, so he's definitely pushing it as well. The idea that the time to play double agent is over. It's time to draw the lines in the sand and go from there. And Kyle is fully on board. I agree. I want out. I'm done with this. I hate having to lie to so much to them. He thinks that he's going to lose their jury votes. Michael and Brittany think he'll win their jury votes by playing this way, but he thinks he'll lose their jury votes by playing this way. So Kyle is very much like, yeah, I'm down. I want out of this anyway. Joseph, though, doesn't agree. When they're talking to him about not playing double agent anymore, there's a deep sadness in his eyes. He's like, no, I like doing this. This is fun. It's what you talk. We got to keep it masked. Got to keep it, they don't know what's happening. We got to keep going. So we're going to see more of this conflict over the course of the night.
Which I get that it's fun. I mean, look at Joseph's game since he's been playing double agent. He's been loving every bit of it. But also, I would argue that Joseph has very clearly shown, based on his goodbye messages so far, he's going to nail the goodbye messages. They're going to love him coming out of the goodbye messages. So I don't think he needs this double agent stuff. I think this double agent stuff mixed with the goodbye messages, if someone leaks it later that, yeah, he was playing you the whole time and he's doing such a good job of it, I think that could actually end up hurting him in the long run. I think if double agents stop, he stands to gain a lot from it, because again, the goodbye messages will be fine. He will do fine in those.
Yes. So Kyle's going to start right away with Alyssa that he wants out of this alliance. And so he's going to try and kind of pull Alyssa with him and break Alyssa up, break her out of the Jasmine and Indy bubble, which she really didn't even want genuinely doesn't want to be in. The only reason she's working with Jasmine and Indy is because they're the only people that will actually talk game with her. And I think this conversation shows it. He says he's because Indy came in, she like didn't even look at it. He's like, oh, I'm sick of Indy and Jasmine. They're being so mean in this house for no reason. I don't like this alliance at all. And Alyssa's like, oh my God, Kyle, same. Like I've been holding this in. Like Jasmine told me the other day, oh, I could make Brittany cry if I wanted to. And I was like, why would you say that? That's so mean. I hate it. And he's like, yeah, I think this alliance is dumb. And she's like, yeah. So he's already pretty much like 70% out with Alyssa already.
That's a great starting point here. It's so funny because Alyssa, whether she's truthfully out on Jasmine and Indy and doesn't want anything to do with them, she has nowhere to really land. So following through with Kyle is her best choice at this point. Also, low-key, her dropping early in the comp actually does help her quite a bit.
Yes, that helps her a lot. And I think that there's an opening here for Taylor that I was thinking of sort of prior to the night's events. After the night's events, I'm not sure Taylor's really focusing in the right direction right now, but I think there's an opening here for Taylor to and Kyle even offered this up, and she didn't really take him up on it. But I think that the possibility still exists that she can use Kyle here to pull Alyssa in and not take any heat for nominating, Indy, Jasmine, or Terrence. If she doesn't put Alyssa on the block, then she can say to Kyle, like, hey, pull Alyssa in, get her away from Indy and Jasmine. She doesn't want to work with them anymore. Perfect. Pull her in with me. I'll make a deal with her. I'm going to keep you safe. Look, I don't like them. They're mean. Alyssa will say, yes, they are. I'm not. I'm dying to work with other people. Pull her in. We can pull her in with Michael and Brittany too. We can make something else a little bit on the side here and make sure that she's not targeting me in retaliation. I don't think Taylor even knows how valuable that would be going into a potential 5-5 weird double eviction situation next week. To have even just one more person not willing to target her is huge, because there are not a lot of places to hide if there is anybody that wants to target you going into next week. So I think that would be huge for her. Again, I think that that possibility exists right now, but we'll see if it happens.
Yeah, there's still a lot of time between now and Thursday to hopefully be able to solidify that, because I do think that, especially if the plans do change this week and the other person on the block potentially goes, I don't want to give anything away. Mm-hmm. I think that she would be a lot more likely to take Alyssa in, and I would hope that she does, because I do think that would help her in the civil war to come inevitably between the leftovers. I think getting Alyssa would be actually a huge piece for someone like Taylor in this game.
Yes. So a lot more thoughts on that later.
We'll get there.
Taylor is going to talk with Michael and Brittany pretty soon. She's already talked now to Alyssa and Indy and told them, you guys are fine. I'm not targeting the women. So she tells Michael and Brittany, I've already told the women I'm protecting them. My target is Terrence. And Michael and Brittany are like, you already told them. Wonderful. But don't worry, we're going to have more detailed conversations about those in just a second. Who wants to see my HOH room? Everybody goes up. They all will have the time. Taylor wants to have one-on-one talks tonight. And she's going to start with everybody outside of her alliance. So she talks to Terrence first. And Terrence is going to really just pump her tires here. Like your mom said, don't dim your light. Stay you. Do what you want to do this week. Now, remember, in Terrence's mind here, he is master manipulating Taylor to target Monty. But that's not happening.
Yeah. Again, Terrence changing his tune is just comical to me, given that Taylor already knows. Taylor's betrayed fully by this man. But I love that Taylor has not also given anything away about what she knows. She's letting this guy completely fall into a false sense of security, and I do love to see it.
Yes. So Taylor's then going to talk to Indy. She tells Indy, I don't want to target the women. I'm looking to backdoor Monty. She says that she doesn't even want to put any women on the block at all. In fact, she wants to put 2 guys on the block as pawns. And this is when alarm bells start ringing in the people watching the feeds, because in terms of people outside of the leftovers, there's only one guy, Terrence, which means if she plans on putting 2 guys up, that means she plans on putting one of her alliance members up, which I don't think is the worst idea in the world if played correctly, but definitely should not be told to the people outside of the alliance before it is cleared with the people inside of the alliance. So she says, hey, Indy, what do you think I should do? Who should I put up according to you? And Indy says, why not Turner? He kind of sucks. And Taylor's like, sure, I could put up Turner. All right, there it is then. Turner and Terrence, those are my nominees. Thanks, Indy, for telling me what to do. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I think especially if you were considering putting up a pawn, talking to the leftovers first, as opposed to the outsiders, would have helped quite a bit, because we get to it later in the leftovers portion of the one-on-ones and the conversations. The boys are not too keen on being on the block at all. So
yeah. So in the meantime, Michael and Brittany are going to have a conversation, and they're really going to solidify what they're thinking in terms of this week and moving forward with the leftovers. They would love to get out Jasmine this week, because it really helps pull Alyssa even further away from the other people. They still think that Alyssa and Kyle are more likely to side with them within the leftovers than Joseph and Monty and them. And I hate to say it, but Joseph is really becoming a problem with this double agent stuff. He has got to go. He is definitely their first target within the leftovers. And considering what they're saying with Alyssa, I think they're hoping to target Joseph even before they get down to the leftovers, if possible. They are really looking hard at Joseph here.
I'm worried, a little bit worried. I'm not going to lie to you, Taran, a little bit worried here.
And they're completely correct. I mean, taking out Joseph is a great shot for them. Now, I think that the only downside is that you may leave things too open for Kyle. And that's the thing, too, with Taylor. I've got a lot of thoughts on this. We'll talk about it once we get through the rest of the night. So they end up joining the rest of the leftovers who are talking in the bedroom. Monty, Joseph, Turner, Kyle, Brittany, and Michael. They're all talking through the options while Taylor is talking with everybody not in her alliance. The alliance is downstairs trying to talk through what they think they should do. That when they'll talk to Taylor, they'll talk through it. They don't really realize that she's already come up with a plan and is telling the plan to the other people. So Michael and Brittany think Jasmine should be the next target. She's the person that holds the other side together the most. If Jasmine leaves, then the other side really just, there's no other side at that point. Everybody is completely by themselves. Terrence isn't working with Indy. Alyssa won't work with Indy at that point. Probably she'll just go with Kyle. Like, they'll just be done. That would be ideal. But Taylor seems reluctant to actually target Jasmine, so we're not sure that's going to happen. Monty, because Joseph brings up, like, competitively, Alyssa is probably the biggest threat. Monty says, I don't think so. After that competition, I think that Indy is the best shot to take competition-wise. Because Indy performed much better than Alyssa. Alyssa performed very poorly. This argument's going to be brought up a few times here. They all agree Terrence is the worst person to take out this week because he doesn't win comps and he barely is even included in the other side. So he's the person that they least would want to remove from the game this week. So basically, they want the exact opposite of what Taylor's telling people she's going to do.
Yeah, which, if I'm being honest, I don't think this change in target would harm Taylor. I feel like Taylor could benefit. Like I said earlier, if Indy is the one who ends up leaving, that's not exactly a bad spot for Taylor to land on anyway. I really don't think it'll be that big of it. Like, it will not harm her game, I don't think.
Yes. So I will say that from my perspective at this point, I genuinely couldn't sleep last night. Not only because the feeds were on, but also because I couldn't stop thinking about what I would do if I was in Taylor's spot. Because I think that it's a very important decision. There's a lot of information that Taylor's not aware of, like the twist coming up and the pound. Those are the two primary things she doesn't know that are hugely influential on what's best for her game this week. Because basically she can take a shot at Indy or Terrence or even Jasmine. Doesn't really matter between the three of them. And that has its own benefits. Or she can take the shot at Alyssa, which also has some benefits, primarily being that Kyle right now is by far in the best position in the game. And if you give him too much rope, he will use it to tie everybody else up and win the game. If there's a chance that if you leave Alyssa in for too long, if Kyle plays it well, he'll just run away with the whole thing. So you kind of have to hope that he either gets unlucky or doesn't play it well, which are two actually pretty likely things considering Kyle's history and the upcoming twist. So there's that. Then on the other side of things, if you don't take the shot at Alyssa, you do risk the thing with Kyle running away with the game, but you have a couple of other advantages. One is that Alyssa could still go and probably will in the twist situation, depending on how things play out there. And then even if she doesn't, it still frees Kyle up to betray the pound, helps break the pound up, and she'll still have Michael and Brittany if that happens to go against Kyle and Alyssa. And things can still work out from there. Whereas if Alyssa is removed now, Kyle probably is forced to retreat to the pound and play up that the pound versus Michael and Brittany, which is not as beneficial for Taylor because she's left out a little bit more in the dark there. Her only hope there is that she can get Joseph to choose her over the pound, and even more so choose her and Brittany and maybe even Michael over the pound, which I think is an even taller ask. And I'm really not sure that he will even choose her over the pound. And that kind of puts her in a weird spot. So, I went back and forth a lot. I think ultimately, when taking into consideration the twist and the benefit of getting Kyle to get Alyssa on board with keeping Taylor safe next week, and that helping her out in the short term with the twist, I think ultimately that's how I'm feeling. That's the best path for her, but she has no idea about any of these factors. So it's not like she can use that information to make the same decision that I am. But I do think that keeping Alyssa in the game is probably the right call. Taking out somebody like Indy or even Terrence, I think is just the right way to move forward here. Maybe even straight up Indy or maybe Terrence and then leave Indy with Joseph to give maybe Kyle and Alyssa somebody to put up next to Joseph instead of her in a spot where they take that shot. So, maybe Terrence actually is the right call here. I feel like this is sort of the direction I think she should probably want to go in. But, of course, for Joseph, straight up, no question, take out Alyssa. And for Monty, too. Like, for a few of the people in this alliance, they should be pushing Alyssa so hard. And most of them aren't. So it's a very interesting week this week. I'm very intrigued by the different ways that it can go.
And the intrigue's going to eventually blow over when we get to Thursday and we see what these splits are. Because I do think in a world where Alyssa and Kyle are not in the same group of 5 and you've got leftovers in each group, I could see Alyssa being taken out then because, again, no interaction, no consequences. Alyssa goes, you make up for it later, you talk about it, or if Alyssa's the only non-leftover, it's an easy decision for someone like Joseph to make that decision, make that call. Again, just thinking about the permutation combinations of what 5 are going to end up in the group really could spell out the week. But also, it's a whole week. It's not a double eviction situation. So there's going to be a lot of game. I'm already, Taran, terrified of what we're going to be doing Thursday night with the feeds. Like the quad cam with 2 different houses, both my ears have to be functioning. Are they going to give us 8 cams, which they never would? there's a lot that's going to be going down here. And this week is, as much as everyone sees Taylor win and goes, well, another easy week for the leftovers, there will be a lot of game ramifications that'll be going into that next week from this week. So everything that you hear this week could be very important moving forward.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where I stand. So, you know, I'm sort of watching the feeds now with bated breath, like, okay, stick to your guns, target Terrence, put up Terrence and Indy, pull Alyssa to your side. I really feel like that's the best play for you, Taylor. And in the meantime, she is talking to Alyssa and telling Alyssa also that not going to put up any of the women. And I want to put two guys up. I'm thinking about Turner and Terrence. And she asks Alyssa where she stands on who to target. Alyssa says, ask how Taylor feels about Monty. And Taylor's like, that's where I'm thinking. I'm thinking a backdoor, Turner and Terrence. She's going to say the same thing to Jasmine. Jasmine, though, comes up and says, yeah, I don't know if you know this about me, Taylor, but I'm a big underdog person. You know, I always root for the underdog, and I'm all about women empowerment. You know, I name nails after powerful women. That's how pro women I am. So I know we didn't get off to a great start, but that's because we didn't know. You know, but now I'm really glad we get to see the real Taylor. And Taylor starts talking about targeting Monty. She wants to put two guys on the block as pawns, Turner and Terrence.
Yeah, I didn't realize after Conspiracy Fest ended, Kiss Ass Fest started, because it was a lot, Taran. My eyes couldn't roll more listening to Jasmine talk to Taylor. It was a lot.
Mm-hmm. So Taylor is going to talk with Brittany after talking with every member of the other side. And Brittany is like, so I really think that Jasmine is the best target. I look, and I completely understand and respect your decision to not put her up, but I just wish that, like, you doing that, I wish that Jasmine reciprocated those feelings, right? I wish that Jasmine would do the same for you that you would do for her for those reasons, and I don't think that she would. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Taylor says, well, let me tell you what I'm thinking. I want to put up two men as pawns. And Brittany's like, two men. Okay, so there's one man on the other side. So wait, that means, are you thinking, what are you? Okay, so you're thinking about putting up somebody in the alliance. And Taylor's like, yeah, I already told Indy, Jasmine, and Alyssa about it too. And Brittany's like, did you? Okay, all right. Turner ends up coming in. Monty comes in. And Taylor tells them what she just told Brittany. And they're both like, oh, so you just told them you're doing that. Okay. That's great. Great. So happy you did that. So I'm the thick back door and two guys go on the block as pawns. She's like, yeah, Turner, you're the one that's going to go on the block. You know, okay. Okay. Here's what I'll say about not that I'm not fine with that, but will people think that's a little shady? Like, I've already talked to some people who are like, no chance she puts you up after you saved her on your HOH week. She's like, nope, not a big deal. Already talked to them about it. They think it's all cool. Oh, so you already told them you're putting me up on the block. Oh yeah, it's fine, and they think it's fine. Yeah, that's awesome. One question: what happens if Terrence wins the veto? Crap. Okay. All right. Maybe I put both of you up, Turner and Monty, and I just say, "Oh, I just want you two to battle it out. Monty can win the veto if he wants." I put both of you up, and Turner goes, "Oh, this is getting worse." Okay. So, okay, that's great. What happens then if somebody not on the block wins the veto and doesn't use it? She goes, oh man, this is not fun. This is not a good time. Okay, hold on. Now I'm really confused. And Monty's like, okay. What's the best case scenario putting Turner and Terrence up? Let's forget the situation where you put me up. What about the Terrence and Turner thing? Who do you backdoor in that spot? Like, what is the game plan there? Like, what happens when the veto is used? Who do you put up then? And Taylor's like, I didn't think that far. That was just what I was telling Jasmine. So, okay. And Turner's like, okay. We get that you've already made a promise here, but hear us out. What if you put one of the women up outside of the alliance? You don't put up any of us, because that's kind of what makes the most sense. And Brittany is like, yeah, I do feel like the girls that you're protecting here, they don't really operate the same the way that you do. And it just sucks to see them act one way to your face and then another way when you're not in the room. And I just feel like, maybe we should consider that. And they kind of go back and forth, adding, they just really tag team, like Brittany, Turner, Monty, back and forth, giving reason after reason why this should not happen. And one of the women should be on the block. And Brittany's like, we've been back to back HOHs, which is great, but we can't get complacent. Like, some of these comps are luck based. I feel like we should probably do this other thing. And Taylor's like, well, okay. All right. Whatever I say to them can be lies. I don't want to put you in jeopardy, Turner. And he gives a little fist pump. And she says, okay, so yeah, all right. I'll put one of them up. And Turner says, okay, well, the only thing worth pointing out then is, Indy did really well in that competition. Taylor's like, okay, I agree. Okay, Indy and Terrence. We can put up Indy and Terrence.
And there you have it. We went from 2 men on the block to Indy and Terrence. And here's the thing, right? I feel like trying to put up a pawn, trying to do that. These are actively, you have a pool of 3 out of 4 of the outsiders who not only have been awful to you, but also you may not have those votes, jury votes. So whatever, one of them go is fine. Your life is fine. You're going to be fine. And then also from where I'm sitting, in my head, I'm thinking, Indy leaves, right? In the goodbye message, throw Kyle under the bus. Kyle told me the things you said about me. Like, you have ammo. You have some opportunity there to maybe change some goodwill on the way out there. But 100% do not worry. You have targets that you can easily get out. Now, I think there was a lot of coming to realization of what's going on and what the decisions she was making were, and that, this was not good. This was not good. I think that I think the biggest problem was just the assurance she gave everyone. Because when the night started, she was like, I told them I'm not targeting them, but I didn't say anything about pawns. And she was saying this, I believe, to Brittany. But then when they were one-on-oneing, she was very much reassuring that you're fine, you're safe, everything's good. I believe Alyssa was the one who was like, am I safe in a pawn situation? Like, you're not putting me up as a pawn either. And she was like, I don't know yet. Like, I haven't decided that yet. But then to everyone else, it was kind of like, you're safe. So we'll see. We'll see. Again, it was night 1. Noms haven't happened yet. We'll see where that goes. Remember, Turner's night 1 HOH, it looked very bad. It was like, all right, he's going to just put up Taylor. It's over. So we'll wait and see what happens here. But ultimately, we do land on what I think is the correct 2, given that Jasmine was not in contention.
Yeah, I just... I've been wanting Taylor to have an HOH because it's a great position for her to obtain the information that she needs to make the decision that she needs to make. And she's just not really gathering information right now. I don't know if she doesn't realize that there's information to be gathered, but I need her to, and look, it's very early. This happens a lot with HOHs, especially in their first reign. They don't really understand that they need to be gathering information. Usually over the course of the week, they're able to obtain some and correct some errors in the early portion of the week. I think that's definitely still in the cards here for Taylor, but definitely not the best first night here as HOH. So Turner and Monty leave. Taylor says to Brittany, see, I'm bad at this game. I didn't even consider this. And Brittany's like, you're not bad at this game. Brittany says, like, I just don't want to watch that episode where these girls who have never had your back, turn around and target you immediately after. And like, it looks really bad. And then Michael rings the bell. He comes in and interrupts and Brittany leaves. Now Brittany, Turner, and Monty go downstairs and they're not super pleased about the direction that conversation went. Monty's a little bit turned off by it. Brittany does say like, oh, well, after you left, Taylor's like, oh, I'm so bad at this game. I don't think that she meant anything bad by it. I think she really just got confused. And they're like, okay, yeah. Monty says she's got too good of a heart. She can't be buying what these girls are selling. They both agree, or they all agree, that they'd like for Indy to go. If they can't get Jasmine, Indy should be the target. Shouldn't be Terrence. Shouldn't be Alyssa. Nobody from their alliance should go on the block. It should straight up just be Indy that leaves. So that's kind of where their head is at this point.
Yeah, which again, Indy leaving, despite Terrence being who Taylor currently wants out, is not a bad shout for Taylor. Indy leaving is not a bad shout for Taylor whatsoever. And I'm intrigued to see, because I do think that Brittany's making good points about Jasmine. Michael having the same feelings makes sense. The roadblocks here are the decision to, because she doesn't want to put up Jasmine, it's made it a little bit difficult, because you've essentially made the pool of 4 a pool of 3, and then one of the 3 is connected to Kyle, who Kyle would not be happy if you put up, and you probably shouldn't put up. So you're really left with 2. If the veto is won by one of these 2, I don't know what the move is for Taylor.
I think that they talked her into being willing to put up Jasmine if she absolutely had to. But I don't think that she has really considered that it's going to happen, right? Like if like let's say Alyssa wins the veto, uses it on Indy or Terrence, I don't think she's really expecting that scenario to play out. Obviously, they'd be like, you need to put up Jasmine. I think she probably would at that point. She really doesn't want to. She really doesn't feel like she has to, I guess, at this point. I can't say strategically that I agree with her, but of course, again, I think she's even saying to the cameras during this podcast, like she really just doesn't want to do that, and that's her choice. She, I think, doesn't know the full extent to which Jasmine has said bad things about her, but. It is the decision that she's making here, and it shouldn't matter too much. There are, some scenarios where it kind of screws her over, but most scenarios I think are fine. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. Taylor does talk to Michael. She tells Michael I made some promises to the girls that I'm gonna have to go back on now, but it's fine. It's fine. She says, I'm thinking now Terrence and Indy. And Michael says, oh, did you talk to Terrence about that at all? She was like, oh, no. He told me, do what you want to do this week. And I was like, great, I will.
I'm going to put you up.
And she says if Terrence wins the veto, she may have to put a leftover up, or I guess maybe Alyssa. Just put Alyssa on the block. Michael asks Taylor how she feels about Joseph and Kyle playing double agent. And she doesn't seem to have strong feelings about it, but he kind of gets her to agree that it should stop. And so she's now, again, doesn't seem like she cares that much, but she agrees. She ends up agreeing with Michael. Sure, yeah, why don't we'll tell him to stop. That's fine.
We'll see if that works out for you. We'll see if they'll stop double agenting. I don't know about that. Especially when they go into this next week, if they're in a breakdown that is favorable for them. Like if Joseph's in a 2-2-1 where it's 2 from the leftover / 2 from the pound and then 2 outsiders, oh, he's going to love just continuing the double agenting in the middle the whole way through. And then forbid if he's HOH too. That would be wild. That camera would be fun though.
Mm-hmm. So Kyle's going to talk to Taylor. She says, I'm so bad at this game. Kyle's like, well, how can I help? She says, well, I'm a dummy and I made some promises. So it was a bad move. He's like, well, that's fine. Here's look, he's like, I get that you don't want to put up Jasmine. Just need to let you know, you told me that you want these things to be told to you. He was there when Jasmine said she didn't want to talk to Taylor. So he lets Taylor know. Jasmine said right before she came up here, essentially like, I'm so annoyed I have to talk to her. I hate having it be fake. And she says, thank you for telling me. I do want you to tell me when these things happen. That's pretty frustrating, but what are you going to do? She says, I'm thinking Terrence and Indy now are the nominees. He says, I think that's a great idea. Great chance that noms stay the same at that point. He says, I don't think it would be a good idea to put any of the leftovers up. We're the only 2 people in the leftovers that have sat on that block. after veto on eviction night. And I think you can agree that like we shouldn't make any of us have to sit through that if we don't have to. Like it sucks. And she's like, yes, you're completely right. Kyle wonders if there's any way him or Joseph can leverage their relationship with the other side to ease the blow now that she's going to have to break her word to Indy. And this is where I'm like, yes, Taylor, take him up on this offer. He's got Alyssa. You can do this. You can do that damage control. The offer is right there on the table. But she doesn't really pick up on it yet, at least. She says, well, I don't really think the double agent thing is necessary. She says what Michael, she talked about with Michael. She says she's fine with playing it out for the rest of the week if they need to, but she doesn't really get the point of it at this point. Kyle doesn't have any argument to that. He's, well, yeah, I mean, it's more of a Joseph thing than a me thing. I'm not really into it. I'm down to totally drop this. Joseph seems really to be attached to the idea, though.
Yeah, I feel like, you got to look at the last 3 weeks to see where we are. And the last 3 weeks with the Festy Bestie twist, the game had to be cloaks and daggers. You had to put up a facade, make sure everything's safe, play with these layers upon layers of, all right, we're going to do this. You're the pawn, this, that, whatever, like fifth dimension chess, if you could. I feel like that's why Taylor is thinking like that, because the last 3 weeks have been like that of, oh, maybe I put up this person as a pawn and we do that. And then we play it like this. Whereas this should be the easiest week in weeks, right? First week of jury, you just won. The leftovers have spent 3 weeks like working with you. You repay it. You put up the two people that aren't in it that would both benefit you from leaving, and that's it. But I think that because it's been 3 weeks of playing with that level of trying to make things happen, mix that in with the fact that there's some people that want a double agent. There's some that want completely out of it. There's some people that really want it to stop happening. There's a lot happening here, which complicates everything because of the way the night was set up and the way things are going. Now, we'll get a clearer picture of what's going to happen moving forward, whether the team decides, okay, nah, Joseph, everybody, stop the double agenting. We just can't do it. Will a full group of 7, like, will they all talk to each other? That's going to be important to see. But I think this is one of the easier weeks. And already I'm a little bit worried because of how complicated it got last night. But I think it'll be fine. Yeah,
she even says like, oh, I was still stuck in like the bestie mode of thought, and now what you guys are saying makes a lot of sense. So she seems to have, gotten mostly back on the right track here for now. So she's going to talk to Joseph. She tells him Indy and Terrence are the nominees with Terrence as the target. And he's like, what makes you think Indy is the best pawn of the other 3? And she's like, yeah, well, the thing is, I'm not going to put Jasmine up because she's a black woman. I don't want to do that to her on her birthday. And he's like, oh, okay. Monty comes in. Brittany and Turner come in. They talk about, what about the option of like Indy and Alyssa? They talk through that option a little bit. They start pushing again for Jasmine to go up. And Taylor says, well, look, if I put up 2 girls, I would want at least some reason for that. Like if Joseph, if you and Kyle like ratted them out to me officially, and then I could use that as a reason to put 2 of the girls up. Now at this point, Kyle is sent upstairs by Indy. Go upstairs and see what they're talking about, Kyle. Okay. And Kyle comes in. And Joseph is making the pitch now that we shouldn't blow up the 5 squads. God. 5 squatters. No, 5 squatters. Damn it. I hate this alliance.
It's an awful name.
Fly squatters, 5 swatters. Okay. He doesn't want to blow up the 5 swatters because he sees a lot of value in this. And Kyle's like, I don't really see much value in it. And Joseph's like, but it masks things. And Monty's like, but what's the point? Who cares? Brittany's like, yeah, honestly, I think if anything, they'll blow up on each other even more when they see that there's no other option. When they see that this side is locked in. And Joseph's like, no, I think there's value in masking things. I think we should be masking things. I don't want to. He's really pushing back hard on the idea of blowing this up. They then get interrupted. Alyssa comes in. A bunch of other people join, including Michael. Kyle, after a long time, ends up leaving with a bunch of them. So now it's leftovers with Michael there, not Kyle. And Taylor recaps the conversation for Michael. They're trying to figure out what is the best combination of people to make them blow up on themselves. And Turner says, let me throw this one out there. Indy and Jasmine, if they're both up, they both need to campaign to their best friend, Alyssa. I feel like that would be pretty great. Alyssa's already getting pretty sick of Jasmine. I feel like that would be a good one. And Taylor's like, yeah, but her birthday, Jasmine. Michael's like, I heard about her birthday all week last week. She was like, oh, don't put me up because next week's my birthday. I don't want to hear about her birthday anymore. I'm done with it. And Taylor's like, yeah, but he's like, people have been voted out on their birthday.
You're
like
not
Kaser.
Yeah, she can still eat. Like, you don't have to have not her. Throw her up. She's on the block on her birthday. Big deal. Listen, and this is coming from someone from the outside just being frustrated. She's got like a 4-week immunity because of this like ankle, and now the birthday. And I genuinely feel like I'm very surprised she did not remilk the injury last night of the ankle, because it was right there available to her, Taran.
But she doesn't have to. She's got the birthday now.
Yeah, because is it her and Turner are the only two not been nominated yet this season? Do I have that right?
Oh boy. Yes.
Yeah, put her up. Why is she not nominated? Just put her up. It'd be fine. Happy birthday. Here's some cake. You're on the block. Deal with it. It'd be great, but I know it won't happen, but it'd be great. I'd love it.
Yeah. She's okay. Well, look, so it's Indy and Terrence. They're the noms. Then if the veto is won by one of them, throw Alyssa up. And they eventually get Joseph to agree, okay, once Indy and Terrence go on the block, use that as an opportunity to start backing out of five squatters. If they're five squatters, all right. They're squatting in the Big Brother house. They have no business being there. He agrees to that.
Yeah, that is what is her birthday? Is it Monday? Do we know the exact day of it?
I don't know the exact day now.
Okay, that's unfortunate, because that would have been a great birthday present. I would have been okay with that. But no, also Jasmine does give me it's my birthday month vibes. Like, it's a month-long celebration.
It's the 17th, so it's Wednesday.
That's fine. Okay, anyway, it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the night. That's where the plan seems to lock in for now. Indy and Terrence on the block. Taylor intends to target Terrence, but I'm seeing even just this morning, she kind of recognizes that the rest of the alliance is probably not going to be on board to take out Terrence. They'd probably rather take out Indy. I'm also seeing that Taylor is maybe considering, backdooring Alyssa and potentially sending Alyssa out if that opportunity presents itself. So we'll have to see if that presents itself as well.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see what plays out, where things go. I don't think. Do you think it's going to be a hard sell for Taylor if the noms stay the same? They're like, yeah, we want to get rid of Indy, not Terrence. Or do you think she'd be fine with it?
So I think, again, I did not see this conversation, but I'm reading some of it right now, that Brittany is telling Taylor, like, hey, if Terrence and Indy are on the block, I think the alliance is going to want Indy out. And
Okay.
Taylor was like, whatever.
Yeah, that's the right mentality to have. It is what it is. I think doesn't matter too much, because I do think now that Terrence has lost his beloved Daniel, I think he's going to revert back to yes-anding. I think that's all that's left for him.
Who else does he have?
Nobody. He has 0 people. So I think that's all he's going to do. I don't think he's going to. I think if he wins, he could put her up, but I don't know if he's going to target her. We'll see. Anyway,
He'll probably put her up next to Monty, and most people will vote Monty out.
Exactly. So she'd be fine. It's not that deep. Get rid of Indy. Your life will be fine. Although I will say, Taylor, Indy leaves on your HOH. Big Brother Twitter, listeners, RHAP Patreon. Stay out of my mentions. I've already gotten 2 people that sent me screenshots of chapsticks this week. The game isn't. Talk to me at Final Five. We'll discuss it then. We're still 10 people. Like, leave me out of this. There's still 11 people in this house. Please do not send me chapstick photos. It is not over.
Look, it's just they're just trying to help you. You should start looking at flavors. You don't want to wait until the last minute and then have like limited flavor options.
Oh no, I listen. I'm gonna get it the day it happens. I am not looking or purchasing ahead of time. I'm not admitting defeat. It's not over till it's over. Okay.
All right.
And that being said, I'm okay with Indy leaving. Let it be known. I don't want Indy to stay for that. I will eat a chapstick over Indy staying. Okay. I'm fine with that. I'm just saying the wager deduces that it's not over till it's over.
Pooya's gonna pull out a chapstick and be like,
my, oh my, this looks better than salt and pepper and butter right on a corn cob on a Tuesday in the Mississippi River.
I will say that, and I will eat it, and it will be what it'll be. But it's not going to happen because it's not going to happen. We're going to be fine.
all right. Well, again, I'm sure there's going to be lots of discussion here about who the target should be for Taylor. Again, I really feel like there's a lot of different. I feel like Joseph is the person who most benefits from Alyssa leaving. Monty also, but Monty is really pushing for Indy even over Alyssa. Joseph is the only person pushing Alyssa at all right now in the alliance. Michael and Brittany both are pushing anti-Alyssa, as in anti-targeting Alyssa. Obviously, Kyle is not a very effective don't target Alyssa campaigner, but I imagine would be at least somewhat of a presence there. And then Monty is also pushing for Indy to be the one to go, and Turner's pushing for Indy to be the one to go. So there's not a lot of support for an Alyssa target. I do wonder though if probably the worst case scenario for Alyssa at this point is, say, Indy wins the veto, or the veto is used on Indy somehow. Alyssa goes up next to Terrence. I'm not sure where people like Turner, Monty, or even Michael and Brittany would fall at that point if they would be willing to take Terrence out over Alyssa. So that's the biggest thing for me. The thing that still has intrigue for the week is, does Alyssa leave or does one of the other 3 leave? Because Alyssa leaving is the only thing that really changes things in a bigger way. It helps Joseph a lot. It weakens Kyle a lot, but Kyle still would be in the best spot. That's how good a spot he's in right now. But it does change the dynamics heading into the 5-5 split in a major way. So a lot to talk through here.
I just wish they would have told us how the 5-5 split was going to get determined, because that's the one thing I keep thinking about, because that will say a lot. If it's random, I don't have to think about it again. If it's a pick'ems type situation, then that changes everything. So I don't know. We'll see. Should be an interesting week, though, with everything coming up, the build up, the anticipation, the dread, the excitement. There's all the feelings, Taran.
Yes. All right. Well, the interview with Daniel, I think, has been posted, so you can go and check that out once you finish up with this update. I will also be talking with Rob on the Q&A for the patrons. If you want to call in and chat with us, you can do so over in the patron group. And you can find me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong. Watching the episodes live with all of you, making predictions, having fun over there. I also dropped the latest Among Us video, having fun with some of the mods over there on Among Us, so check that out over on YouTube. And then lots of other stuff happening with post-show recaps, House of the Dragon, that sort of thing. So check all of that out. Just follow me on Twitter at ArmstrongTaran, where I'll tweet out most of these things so you can follow it all. And that's what I've got for you. Pooya, what are you up to?
Well, people can find me on Twitter at Pooyaism. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Pooya. I am back. Like I said, I was away for the whole weekend, so we didn't do Goose Goose. We didn't do the pad. I'll be back tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern on Twitch to hang out with the squad. And then Sunday at 2 p.m., we're back with our Goose Goose Duck lobby. Should be a fun time. And then as far as anything else podcast-wise goes, 90 Day Fiancé was great this week. I had Kirsten on with me to finish off talking about the finale. I have Rob on with me next week to talk about the tell-all. Should be very fun in that space as well. And yeah, that's all I've got for y'all.
All right. Well, that's what we've got for you then today. Thank you all so much for joining us, and I will see all of you